Good morning. Happy New Year. I'm Judge Tammy Hayward. This is the jail arraignment calendar for January 3rd of 2023. I'm going to call the calendar, but before I do, Miss Brenda, could you look something up for me? I got a message from one of the other judges about someone who's on our calendar and may be at the jail. And we should be able to help them with an order, but I think they're on an SSD. So case number is 2021 CR 05851. And I think his name is Darius Carter, but I could be wrong. All right, so the calendar for today, I'm going to call the calendar, and I anticipate that the attorneys will respond on behalf of their clients. Emma Bennett Youngblood.
Hi, Your Honor. I reached out to Miss McGee. We're still dealing with we're still waiting on her mental health eval, but she's being medicated. So I think I'm going to try to take next steps to try to see if I can get her placement somewhere.
Okay. So do you need to see Miss Youngblood today?
No, she can go back.
Okay. So the jail can send Miss Youngblood back. And have you talked to her since she's been medicated?
Well, so they've attempted to medicate her. According to Miss McGee, she has not taken her medication. So what our last conversation was that they're going to try medication via injection, not.
Well, they do have a new injectable medication that seems to work pretty well. So hopefully they'll be able to start that regimen, and maybe we can get make some progress on getting her a placement. Okay, so the jail can send Miss Youngblood back. Carl Anthony Brown.
That's going to be a plea, Your Honor, but I would like to speak to Mr. Brown again.
Okay. Jahaven Good.
Your Honor, I need to speak with Mr. Good again, please.
Jabril Ayanola Akinkunmi.
Your Honor, I was told that got transferred to Judge Spencer's courtroom.
Is that a DUI? Or she had the older case?
Not sure. I just was told that this case was, I mean, I can speak with him though if
let's confirm, because there's no need to duplicate efforts. If he's with Judge Spencer, she has her calendar later today.
Okay.
If I'm not mistaken. Yeah, she does. I think she has the afternoon Tuesday calendar. So Miss Wright or Miss Castaneda, if one of you could verify for Ayola, case number 2022 CR 07582. If that's Judge Spencer's case, then we'll let her handle it this afternoon, because I don't know if he's connected to something else.
Jail.
Yes.
Okay, he's here. He's on your calendar. He's here.
Okay, I can speak with him. I'm sorry, I don't know where the miss.
Oh, okay. All right, then. Thank you. So we'll do a breakout room. Jeremiah Leandre Jones. Mr. Jones has 4 cases now.
Yes, Your Honor. I'm representing Mr. Jones. Your Honor, we had requested for a mental health eval. We got his report back, and he was found to be incompetent but restorable. And then we asked for a 90-day stay for inpatient. He seems to be receiving his medication at the jail, and he's competent today to enter into a plea.
On all 4 cases?
On all 4 cases.
Okay, so Mr. Jones has been there before, so they may have whatever his prescription regimen is at the jail. So we'll go ahead and give it a try. Did you need to speak with him first, or did you want to go ahead and take the plea without?
Your Honor, I spoke to him yesterday. We can go ahead and take the plea.
All right. So once we finish calling the calendar, we'll go to Mr. Jones first. Travis Terrell Kirkland.
Your Honor, I need to speak with Mr. Kirkland again.
Omar Jihad Lee. That is closed. It's a petition. Have you all had the opportunity to speak with Mr. Lee?
No, Your Honor, I wasn't able to schedule a jail visit with him for some reason.
All right. And Quintavious Dion McMullen.
Your Honor, I just got a revised recommendation this morning. I just need to speak to him about the recommendations. I've already spoken to him. So,
Your Honor, this is the jail.
Yes.
Yeah, I got word that he has bonded out.
Mr. McMullen. Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
So he'll be moved to another calendar, an arraignment calendar. Santonio Marquez Ott.
Your Honor, I just need to speak to Ms. Chiang first.
Okay.
She's on the Zoom call.
All right. And Antonio Montrell Simmons, that's a petition.
I'm sorry, Your Honor, I gave the wrong announcement. For Ott, I need a breakout room. And
Okay.
for Simmons, I need to speak to Ms. Chiang.
Okay. Keith O'Brien Stocks.
Your Honor, we've already resolved this case.
Oh, yeah. Yep, it's closed. All right, so let's see. All right, I'll go ahead and set up the breakout rooms. But let's do Jones's plea first. And that way we can take care of Mr. Jones's 4 pleas and then address everyone else with breakout rooms. Whenever the jail is ready, we're ready for Mr. Jeremiah Jones.
That's that right there. The judge is on the bench. Y'all need to calm it down. You heard me?
Mr. Jones?
How are you today, man?
I'm good. How are you, Mr. Jones?
Fine. I'm sorry about what happened last time. I guess if I did anything wrong, but
That's okay, Mr.
course.
Jones. I understand. You know, like I said, if a person who has a medical condition is not medicated, then they can have some issues. So that's not on you, okay? All right. So, so Mr. Jones, you have a few cases before us. You've talked to your attorney about everything, right? And you feel like you're comfortable to take these pleas?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Did you have any questions for me or your attorney before we get started?
No, ma'am.
Okay. All right. So, Mr. Jones, you know which one of the attorneys is yours?
Yes, ma'am. The one in the middle. I forgot his name. Mr. Brook. Mr. Romani.
Mr.
Kamani?
Kamani? Yeah. And that's who you met with about your cases, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So, Mr. Kamani, did you have any concerns regarding Mr. Jones and his ability to enter into these pleas since he has been medicated?
No, Your Honor.
All right. Do you believe that the medication makes it him unable to enter into the pleas, or it enhances his ability to do so?
It enhances his ability to do so, Your Honor.
All right. So, Mr. Jones, raise your right hand for me, sir. Oh, okay. I got you. Do you solemnly swear or affirm any testimony you give in this matter will be true?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So you're before the court on case 2022 CR 01194 for battery, family violence, battery, simple battery, family violence, and simple battery. Mr. Kamani, how does your client plead to the first case before the court?
Your Honor, to count 1, he's going to plead nolo, and counts 2 to 4 will merge.
Okay. All right. And for the second case is case 2022 CR 01653 for criminal trespass. Mr. Kamani, how does your client plead to that offense?
Your Honor, he's going to plead nolo to that as well.
All right. And for the next case, which is 2022 CR 02467 for simple battery.
Your Honor, he's going to plead nolo.
And for the last case, 2022 CR 07489 for criminal trespass.
Your Honor, he's going to plead nolo to that as well.
All right, Mr. Jones, by entering these pleas of no contest or nolo, you give up the right to have trials by jury or judge. You give up the right to have the state prove your guilt on these cases beyond a reasonable doubt. You give up the right to have the presumption of innocence in your favor. You give up the right to confront witnesses, subpoena witnesses, present testimony and evidence on your behalf, to not incriminate yourself or present any testimony or evidence against yourself. And if you're not a United States citizen, a plea of guilty or no contest could negatively impact your immigration status. Do you understand all of these things, Mr. Jones? Can you speak up for me, Mr. Jones? I'm getting some.
Yes, ma'am. I understand.
Okay. There you are. Thank you. All right, Ms. John VA, on behalf of the state, are there any concerns with these pleas?
No, Your Honor.
All right. All right. Factual basis and recommendations, please.
For the case ending in 07489 on January 27, 2021, an officer responded to 147 Riverwalk Drive, Apartment E, Atlanta. This incident occurred in Clayton County. The officer responded to a domestic disturbance. At that time, when the officer made contact with the victim, Andrea Jones, Ms. Jones advised that her son, Jeremiah Jones, did intentionally hit her in the face with a closed fist, and the officer observed a visible cut on her cyber mouth. At that time, Mr. Jones was taken into custody. The state is recommending for count 1, 12 months to serve 96 days, credit for time served, the balance will be probated, no violent or harassing contact with the victim. Count 2, 3, and 4 will merge.
I'm sorry. Say that again. You're breaking up a little bit. I can hear you, but it's a little difficult to make out.
Oh, my apologies. Can you hear me now? Is it still?
Yeah, it's a little bit better.
Okay. So read the entire thing or just the state's recommendation?
I'm sorry.
You want me to reread all of it or the state's recommendation?
No, that was, I could hear you. It's just kind of not always clear.
Okay.
So I don't know if it's your proximity to the microphone or if it's we're having issues with the internet. Because I can hear everybody else clearly, although there's a delay for Mr. Jones.
Okay.
All right.
Okay. So I can move on to the second case. I wasn't for sure if we needed to include anything.
So which one are you doing now? Is this the first, second, or third one? Because you started with the fourth one.
That's where the order was on the calendar. My apologies. So I just did the one. Oh, I did. I apologize. I did. I said that, but I didn't start. Let me actually start with that one.
Okay.
It was the one ending in one, no, I did, 119. So the next, so I just did the one ending in 1194.
Oh, okay.
The second one on the calendar is 01653.
All right.
On April 17th, 2022, an officer responded to a disturbance at 7297 Terra Boulevard. At that time, it was an Exxon gas station. The incident did occur in Clayton County. At that time, the officer observed Mr. Jones on the property standing by a blue dumpster. He had been previously criminally trespassed from that particular location. And at that time, the officer took Mr. Jones into custody. The state is recommending 12 months to serve, 7 days credit for time served with the balance probated, and do not return to the Exxon location.
Excuse me, Judge. She's breaking up and I'm not getting the recommendations clearly.
Okay, I'm gonna try and repeat them before that one ending in 01653, Ms. Wright. I think it was 12 months to serve 7 days, credit for time served, balance will be probated as long as he does not go back to the incident location.
Thank you.
All right, and did you need the incident location stated again?
No, ma'am, I have that.
Oh, okay, all right then. All right, go ahead, Ms. Janvier.
For the case ending in 07489. On March 22nd, 2022, an officer responded to 7297 Sierra Boulevard. It's an Exxon in Jonesboro, Georgia. The incident did occur in Clayton County. At that time, the officer made contact with the store manager, who informed that Mr. Jones was trespassed from that area the week before, March 16th, 2022. The store manager then advised the officer where Mr. Jones was located outside of the vehicle. At that time, the officer made contact with Mr. Jones and advised that he was trespassing and took Mr. Jones into custody. The state is recommending 12 months to serve 10 days, credit for time served, the balance to be suspended on it.
Okay, the last one I have is 02467. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor, this is the last one. On May 31st, 2022, at 9157 Terra Boulevard, the main court holding area, this incident did occur in Clayton County. The Clayton County Sheriff's officer were attempting to bring Mr. Jones, another inmate, up to the main court holding. And during that time, while he was in the cell with another inmate, he began an altercation. The sheriff deputy attempted to break up the altercation between Mr. Jones and the other inmate. At that time, Mr. Jones struck the sheriff's deputy twice in the back of the head. The state is recommending 12 months to serve 7 months, Your Honor. And the balance would be probated.
I'm sorry, you said 12 months to serve what?
7.
7 months?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Balance probated?
Yes, ma'am.
Are there any conditions for the probation?
No, Your Honor. It was initially on for the first case that was the mental health evaluation and follow treatment.
All right. All right, Mr. Kamani, anything on behalf of Mr. Jones?
Your Honor, first of all, Your Honor, he served his time for all the cases, so he should get credit for time served on all the cases. And Your Honor, he does not have a job right now, so I'm requesting that his probation supervision fee be waived.
Okay. All right, so go ahead, I'm sorry, Mr. Kamani.
No, Your Honor, I'm done.
Okay. All right, so Mr. Jones, I'm glad to have you back. I want you to stay with us, so I want you to stay with your medication. Do you have a regular doctor that you see?
Yes, ma'am. According to Riverdale Hospital, which is up the street from Terry Boulevard. The other day, I just came from a different hospital that acquired cigarettes, but they're holding my Medicaid and also my mother too. We just called my mother yesterday during the
Okay.
conversation of a visit, and we already spoke to her, and she said she's going to deal with me when I get out there. So I'm gonna be able to get out of the jail by myself in the condition of a good mind and good portrait. But if that's what I need is medication, then we'll deal with that more later on in the future out there on the street. If that's okay with you.
Okay, because I want you to get back with your doctor so you can.
They already provide
Okay.
medical. The jail does. So I think I have a bag of pills when I leave, or when before I leave, they have me sent down to the infirmary to get some
your
shots
medical. Okay, all right. So I'm gonna, on case 2022 CR 01194, I'm going to accept your plea of nolo to count 1. Counts 2 through 4 will merge with count 1. I'll sentence you to 12 months to serve 96 days, credit for time served, no violent or harassing contact. The balance will be probated for you to continue your medication management through your regular doctor, okay? And probation supervision fees on all these cases will be waived. All right. So on case C2022 CR 01653, 12 months to serve 7 days, credit for time served, balance probated to run concurrent with the case 2022 CR 01194, with the condition being that you would continue your medication management with your personal physician, okay? On case 2022 CR 02467, I'll accept your NOLO and sentence you to 12 months to serve 7 months, balance probated, and you're not to go back to that location. You have a criminal trespass from the incident location, but you also have a condition from the court as part of your sentence that you're not to go back to that location, okay? And you'll continue with probation and continue with mental health treatment and management through your own physician. All right, and on case 2022 CR 07489, I'll accept your NOLO plea. I'll sentence you to 12 months to serve 10 days, credit for time served, and the balance will be suspended as long as you have no new violations of the laws of the state of Georgia, okay? All right.
I'm good to go home?
Yes, sir. Just remember that you got to keep in touch with your doctor and take your meds, okay?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, thank you, Mr. Jones.
You're welcome.
All right, so I did get confirmation. Thank you, Mr. Castaneda, that the case for Ms. Iola, that is Judge Spencer's case because she has an older case. And so Iola has to go back down. For the jail, I think Judge Spencer has her calendar at 1. Is that correct?
That should be correct.
Okay, so I just want to make sure she's on Judge Spencer's calendar so she at least has an idea of what's coming. Can we send Judge Spencer's case manager a email that Iola is coming on to Judge Spencer's calendar? All right. All right, so I'm going to set up the breakout rooms. Mr. Kamani needs to meet with Ms. Chang first, and then he'll go into the breakout room for the jail. I'm going to put Ms. Han in the breakout room. with the jail. Ms. Hahn in the jail will be in breakout room number 1. Mr. Mani and Ms. Chang will be in breakout room number 2.
Your Honor, I hate to interrupt you, but may I speak for a second?
Sure.
Ma'am, this is Devin here. May I speak to Mr. Jones as well? He was placed on probation, right?
Oh, I'm sorry. Yes, sir. So I have you in room 6. I'm going to put the jail in room 6 first.
Okay, I'll
All
make
right.
it.
No problem, Mr. Carmichael. I'm going to go ahead and put put the jail in breakout room number 6.
Much appreciated.
And thank you for reminding me.
Yes, ma'am.
I'm going to open the, well, I don't want to do that. Move to, there we go. All right. And then Mr. Carmichael in room 6. There we go. All right, so I'm going to open the rooms, and as soon as the jail is finished with Mr. Carmichael, I'll put him in breakout room number 1, and Mr. Kamani and Ms. Chang can go into breakout room number 2, and the jail can go into breakout room number 6 with Mr. Carmichael. And I'll be back.
Your Honor.
Yes, sir.
You can add me to the breakout room with the jail.
Okay, as soon as the jail is ready, I'll put you in the jail in the breakout room.
Sure. Sorry. Thank you.
All right, you all are ready to go into the breakout room with the attorneys. I'm gonna put the jail back in breakout room number 1.
Yes, ma'am.
And Mr. Kamani in breakout room number 1. And we'll be back when there are announcements.
Your Honor, I have announcements if you're ready for them.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, Mr. Brown, those are gonna, he's gonna plead nolo to counts 1 and 2, and count 3 will be no pros. I mean, yeah, count 3 will be no pros.
Okay.
Mr. Good is going to stipulate and agree to the technicals.
Okay.
Mr. Kirkland, and we're ready for the motion to revoke bond. And then for Mr. Lee, he's going to stipulate and agree.
Okay. All right, we'll go forward when the jail comes back. All right, for the solicitor's office, I got a call yesterday from Judge Jones Parker about a Mr. Darius Carter. So Miss Castaneda, Miss Fortune, Miss Castaneda got my message, so she looked it up. So Miss Castaneda looked it up, and Mr. Darius Carter had been arrested on an SSD, but we thought there might also be an outstanding bench warrant. So if we could do a bench warrant set aside for Mr. Darius Carter. And let's see the case number. Let's see. Okay, the case number I have is 2021 CR 05851. So if we could go ahead and do a bench warrant set aside, because my understanding from the confusion, I guess, was that he was arrested on a bench warrant but he had an outstanding SSD, and they believed he was arrested on the bench warrant, not the SSD warrant. But either way, he satisfied the SSD. So Miss Val, I guess we can get an arrest warrant recall for that. He paid if we need to do that still. But my understanding was that he had also had an outstanding bench warrant, so we can cancel that. Thank you.
Your Honor,
Hold on just one second, Mr. Kamani. Did you
Sure.
need to go back into the breakout room or you have announcements?
I have announcements, Your Honor.
Okay, just one second.
Yeah, you can unmute me now. No.
Your Honor, can I actually go back in the breakout room with with the jail?
Sure, one The jail and Ms. Hahn can both go back into breakout room number 1 for a moment.
Was that request sent for the breakout room?
You should be able to go back in at the jail. If you touch the screen, the invitation should still be there. Let me know.
No, I don't see the invitation.
Okay, so let me move you around and move you back in. So I'm gonna move you to breakout room number 4, and then I'm gonna put you back in breakout room number 1. Don't do anything until I tell you, okay? All right. Look for no, I said don't do anything until I tell you. Okay. 2, 1. It's gonna pop him out. He's gonna pop. All right, great. He's in there. All right, thank you for your patience. Mr. Kamani, you had announcements, and then we'll go forward once Ms. Hine gets back. Mr. Kamani. My understanding is Mr. Laurel Arnold is online, and he wants to resolve his case, but I don't have the actual case information because it wasn't on the calendar. It will be an add-on. Could somebody, hold on, Mr. Arnold, let me get somebody to send me your case, like the offenses, and then we can talk about how we want to do that. Do you have an attorney, sir, or do you need an attorney to represent you?
No, ma'am, I don't have one. Like I said, this is my second time coming down, but the problem was initially they were sending the mail to the wrong address. I lived in Mississippi previously,
Okay,
and they took the city that I lived in Mississippi and put it in Georgia. It was Picayune, Mississippi. They put Picayune, Georgia. So
yeah, I don't think we
now-
got a Picayune here, but I have heard of Picayune, Mississippi. Okay,
Yeah.
so, well, thank you for coming on. Let's go ahead and make sure that we have a bench warrant set aside for Mr. Arnold, especially since we messed up his address so badly. And if Miss Janvier, if you could chat me his information regarding what he's being charged with, then we can go ahead and move forward with that. Mr. Kamani, you had announcements?
Yes, Your Honor. For Ott Centennial, he's going to plead guilty to counts 1, 2, and 3.
Okay,
And for Simmons Antonio, it's going to be a stipulate and agree to the technicals only.
okay.
Those were only my cases pending.
Okay. All right. So as soon as the jail is back, then we can go. Oh, Ms. Hahn.
No change in announcement. I just need to clarify some information from him.
Okay. As soon as the jail is back, we'll go forward with the pleas.
Okay.
All right. Thank you. So let's get started with Brown.
1 second. Mr. Brown. Brown.
Mr.
Morning.
Brown, raise your right hand for me. Do you solemnly swear or affirm any testimony you give in this matter will be true?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, you can put your hand down. You're before the court on 2022 CR 07650 for Carl Anthony Brown Jr. You're charged with marijuana 1 ounce or less, open container, and a second charge of open container. My understanding is you're entering a plea of no load to counts 1, 2, and 3. Can we confirm that?
Yes, ma'am.
Count 3 should be null pros, I believe. Your
I'm
Honor.
sorry, to counts 1 and 2, 3 will be no pros. All right, by entering a plea of no load to counts 1 and 2, you give up the right to have a trial by jury or judge. You give up the right to have the state prove your guilt beyond a reasonable doubt. You give up the right to have the presumption of innocence in your favor. You give up the right to confront witnesses, subpoena witnesses, present testimony and evidence on your behalf, to not incriminate yourself or present any testimony or evidence against yourself. And if you're not a United States citizen, a plea of guilty or no contest could negatively impact your immigration status. Do you understand all of these things?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, factual basis and recommendation, please.
Yes, Your Honor. On December 5th, 2022, an officer while on general patrol with Tierra Boulevard and Battle Creek Road, where the incident occurred in Clayton County, received notification through the flock that vehicle, black Chevrolet Impala, traveling northbound into the boulevard. The registered owner had warrants for their arrest. And at that time, the officer made contact with the vehicle and was determined that Mr. Brown was the driver. When he asked that Mr. Brown provide driver's license, he did so. Also did ran a driver's license through GCIC. Did come back with active warrant. At that time, the officer asked Mr. Brown to step aside the vehicle in order to take him into custody. While the officer, once Mr. Brown was in custody, the officer noted an odor of marijuana from the vehicle. And then placed Mr. Brown in the rear of the patrol vehicle. During the search, the officer located a 9mm in the seat. Observed the two buds containing marijuana, an open bottle of new Amsterdam flavored sitting on the passenger seat, as well as a styrofoam cup containing possibly some juice mixed with alcohol. At that time, Mr. Brown was informed of his charges. The state is recommending, Your Honor, for count 1, 12 months to serve 2 days. Credit for the time served, the balance would be suspended upon the forward. 9mm, and the serial number is C as in Charlie 138647. For count 2, open container, $200 fine, Your Honor, and count 3 would be no price.
I'm sorry, you're gonna have to do the recommendations again because you were breaking up.
12 months to serve 10 days.
Okay.
Credit for time served. The balance to be suspended under the forfeiture of the 9mm weapon, Your Honor. The Social Security, not Social Security, serial number was C as in Charlie 138647. And $200 fine for the open container. Count 3 with
Okay, is the $200 fine, is that a credit for time served, or does he have to actually pay the $200?
Yeah, Mr. Brown will give you custody since December the 5th. The state was voted.
Okay. All right, anything, Ms. Hahn?
I just wanted to clarify, what was the last statement from Ms. Janvier about the fine? I didn't hear it.
It's been the $200 fine.
Okay.
All right.
That's all right. Nothing further, Your Honor.
All right, so Mr. Brown, how old are you, sir?
35.
35? So, Mr. Brown, you had active warrants, not sure about what, but you were riding dirty. Who does that when they have active warrants? So those are bad choices. Are we gonna make choices like that again? You're 35 years old. You've been driving for a long time. You know all day, every day, an open container is not allowed. We clear? If you can reach for it and drink from it, then it's not allowed. If it ain't locked in your trunk or sealed closed like you bought it from the store, it's not allowed. So you're taking a lot of chances with not just your life, but other people's lives. You sipping and driving and just out here wilding. Mr. Brown, let's get it together. You too old for this, okay?
Sorry about that. Yes, ma'am.
You're not 17. If I was talking to a 17-year-old, I would go, oh yeah, he's 17, but you're too old for this. So I'm going to accept your plea of no to counts 1 and 2. Count 3 will be no pros. I'll send you to 12 months to serve 10 days. Credit for time served. Balance will be suspended, and for as long as you forfeit the firearm and the with the registration numbers as given by the solicitor. Also on count 2, 12 months to serve I'm sorry, count 2 is going to be a $200 fine. That's going to be suspended for credit for time served. And count 3, I said, was no pros. All right, so Mr. Brown, you can go back with the sheriff's office, but stop doing dumb stuff. Okay, this is a new day. It's 2023. Let's make better choices. Okay.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am.
All right. Let's do.
I got my own rag and my stuff, and I got my own tissue right there. I was getting my feet.
Let's. Can we bring up Ott? And because when I do this, when I do the petitions, I can get away from the calendar. Can we bring up Ott?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, thank you. All right, so Mr. Arnold, if you need to speak with an attorney, you're charged with driving on a suspended or revoked license, which if you're convicted of that, it could further revoke your license or suspend your license. So if you wish to speak with an attorney, then you can do so. I can appoint one to you and you can talk to them in a breakout room while I do these pleas. If you wish to represent yourself, then I'll give you an opportunity later in the calendar to speak with Ms. John VA about what she's going to recommend on your case. Okay. All right. So
Yes, ma'am. You said I need to, you gonna contact me with somebody, put me with somebody?
if you wish to speak with an attorney, I have someone you can speak with now. If you wish to go ahead and represent yourself, then the state's attorney is going to talk to you at a later time, not right now.
Okay, let me talk to somebody now, because I really want to get this behind me for my new year.
Okay, I got you. So let me go ahead. Who has Ott? Is that Mr. Kamani?
Yes, Your Honor, that's me.
All right, so I'll put you in a breakout room with Ms. Hahn. And once Ms. Hahn has finished speaking with you, then you all can make an announcement, okay? Ms. Hahn and Mr. Arnold are going to be in breakout room number 3.
Okay, how I get to the breakout room? This is my
Hold on,
first-
I'm about to send you an invitation, okay? When you see it pop up on your screen, you go ahead and hit the button. See it? All right. Okay, there we go. All right, Mr. Ott, raise your right hand for me. Do you solemnly swear or affirm any testimony you give in this matter will be true?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, you can put your hand down. Mr. Ott, you're before the court on State of Georgia versus Santonio Marquez Ott, 2019 CR 09750. You have 3 counts of criminal trespass. My understanding from your attorney, Mr. Kamani, is that you're entering a plea of guilty to all 3 counts. By doing so, you give up the right to have a trial by jury or judge. You give up the right to have the state prove your guilt beyond a reasonable doubt. You give up the right to have the presumption of innocence in your favor. You give up the right to confront witnesses, subpoena witnesses, present testimony and evidence on your behalf, to not incriminate yourself or present any testimony or evidence against yourself. And if you're not a United States citizen, a plea of guilty or no contest could negatively impact your immigration status. Do you understand all of these things?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. Factual basis and recommendation, please.
Yes, Your Honor. On September 27, 2019, an officer was dispatched for 5125 Old Grant Road, Ellenwood, Georgia. The incident did occur in Clayton County. At that time, the officer made contact with the victim, who advised that her child's father, Mr. Santonio Ott, was destroying her house. At that time, she did explain what was occurring with Mr. Ott. She showed the officers some of the text messages that were sent to her from Mr. Ott advising that he didn't care.
Ms. John VA, I don't understand anything you're saying. You're sounding like the teacher in Charlie Brown. Wah, 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 wah. So maybe it's that you got to face the mic, or I'm not sure, but it was just all garbled. Maybe the connection in the courthouse is not great.
Can you hear me? Can you hear me now?
Yeah, that's much better.
Okay,
All right.
just change microphones there.
Oh, perfect.
On September 27, 2019, officer was dispatched to 5125 Old Grant Road in Ellenwood, Georgia. The incident did occur in Clayton County. It was in reference to a disturbance. At that time, the officer made contact with Ms. Palmer, the victim, who advised that Mr. Ott was threatening her and currently destroying her home. The officer then received background information on Mr. Ott and determined that he had an outstanding warrant. And at that time, took Mr. Ott into custody. The state is recommending a 12 months probation, a $300 fine, substance abuse evaluation and follow-up treatment, no drugs or alcohol, random screening and testing for count 1. For count 2, 12 months probation to run concurrent with count 1, as well as for count 3, 12 months to run concurrent with count 2 and 1.
All right. Mr. Kamani?
Nothing further, Your Honor.
So I have 12 months probation, a fine in the amount of $300, substance abuse evaluation, treatment if necessary, no alcohol or illicit drugs during the course of the probation, and you're subject to random screens for alcohol and drugs on count 1. Is that correct, Ms. Janvier, Mr. Kamani?
That's right, Your Honor.
Yes.
All right. And counts 2 and 3 will run concurrent with count 1. That will be 12 months probation. Mr. Ott, how old are you, sir?
40, ma'am.
How old is your child?
My child is 3 now.
Okay, so here's something you need to understand. You have a 3-year-old, and everybody assumes that, oh, it's just a child. It's, they don't know what's going on, or it's not going to affect them. But babies in the womb get affected by violence or discord in a home, or that affects the mother. So if a baby in the womb hasn't even been born yet can be affected by your behavior, then a 3-year-old can be traumatized by that behavior. And if you're going to tear up the home where your 3-year-old lives, what kind of father does that make you?
Yes, ma'am. I understand. I've been getting help since then.
I hope so, because anything you do to the mother of your child, you do worse to that child.
Yes,
if you leave her without transportation, you leave that baby without transportation. If you leave her with a house that she can't afford to fix up, you leave that baby in that situation. You should have the utmost respect for the person who gave birth to your child. And if you respect and love your child, then you have to extend that to her mother. If y'all aren't getting along, then y'all need to go through the courts and get a visitation and custody issue all laid out in writing, so that y'all don't have to argue about anything. Because when adults can't figure it out, instead of arguing, go get somebody who can tell both of y'all what to do and leave it at that. But the last thing you want to do is traumatize your child. Is it a female or a male?
It's a little girl.
Okay, because 30 years from now or 20 years from now, when your little girl brings home some drunken knucklehead who beating her around, you're gonna know what she did. She married daddy. So you got to change.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. All right. So
I'm sorry, Your Honor. One more thing. No contact with the victim.
Okay. All right. So I don't know. This does not appear that you and the victim in this case. What's her name again, Ms. Janvier?
Althea Palmer.
Miss Althea Palmer. Y'all weren't married at the time this child was born? Okay, so you need to do that anyway. You need to go through the courts and get legitimation, visitation, a custody order and then get child support straightened out. And people get all freaked out. Oh, she gonna put me on child support. Like that's some kind of punishment, when really it's to assure that your child gets what they need and you get credit for providing it. Because if you provide it other than child support enforcement or through child support order, then she can always say, I didn't get it. Or you could give it to her in cash and the court won't recognize it. So that is an assurance for you. All these people who talk about, oh, well, she didn't put me on child support, and they get upset about that. I don't understand that. Those are people who don't know the law and they don't know how things work. If you have something in writing that tells you what your obligation is every month, then that's what you need to do. And that cuts down on all the confusion. We clear? All right, I'm going to put you in a breakout room with Mr. Carmichael. So the jail will be in breakout room number 6 with Mr. Carmichael. And then once you all come back, then we'll be able to move forward with the next case. All right, let's see. Okay, so Mr. I guess we'll do Simmons next while we wait for Ms. Hunt to come back.
Your Honor, I have an announcement for Mr. Arnold, but I think he was having trouble leaving the breakout room. But I just want to let you know the announcement before I come back and get him.
Okay, go ahead.
He's going to plead NOLO. And
You just had the one count, right?
Yes.
Okay, so when go ahead.
I was going to try to go back and get him. I just didn't want to leave you waiting.
No, that's fine. Please do. It's a little difficult. I don't know so I can't visualize what it looks like on somebody else's screen, so it's hard for me to help him.
Okay, I'm gonna try.
All right, thank you.
I'm going to give him a call because he's not there anymore. So I'm going to give him a call.
Yeah, he might have had some difficulty because he was in a car. So I think he was pulled over, but he might have had some difficulty.
Your Honor,
Yes.
Mr. Ott good?
Yes, Mr. Ott is good. If he's met with probation, he's good to go. Mr.
Yes.
Ott, remember what I said. Don't be a knucklehead, okay?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
All right. Simmons, all right. Mr. Simmons, Ms. Chang, raise your right hands for me. You solemnly swear or affirm any testimony you give in this matter will be true. Mr. Simmons,
Yes, ma'am.
Ms. Chang.
I do, Your Honor.
All right, you can put your hands down. So, Mr. Simmons, you're before the court on State of Georgia versus Antonio Montrell Simmons. Case 2022-CR-02443. You were here before, and you're before this court now for a petition for revocation of probation. You entered a plea on for fleeing from a police officer and reckless driving on the 19th day of July, 2022. You were sentenced to 11 months on probation, and you had served 30 days of confinement. You have 5 months and 21 days remaining on probation. Your sentence was not told. So, sir, you're before the court because it's alleged that you violated the law by getting a new offense of willful obstruction of law enforcement officer and possession of a firearm by a convicted felon. And this occurred on October 31st, 2022 in Fulton County. You failed to pay as instructed. You're in arrears $540 on your previous case. Mr. Kamani, you've indicated that Mr. Simmons wishes to stipulate and agree to the stipulate to the technicals and agree to the recommendation of probation. Is that correct?
That's right, Your Honor.
All right. So, Ms. Chang, what's the probation department's recommendation, please?
Your Honor, probation recommends that 30 days be revoked to serve in the county jail and thereafter close the case.
All right, so I've noted that the stipulation is to technicals only. So, Mr. Simmons, the court is inclined to follow the recommendation, but there's some things that are concerning to me. So, Mr. Simmons, you are innocent until proven guilty. So the new charges, I'm not even gonna discuss those directly with you, but what I do want to note is something that's troubling me. Your cases seem to stem from an interaction with law enforcement, like the previous case that you were here about before and the case that you're here on now. Sir, that is not a situation that you can win. You don't win when you get pulled over by the police and you get into a negative interaction with them. On the side of the road, they run things, and people just have to be clear, because you will never win that argument. If you want to take the ticket and come to court, or if you know you got a warrant, come peacefully, because you don't win that argument. You hear me?
Yeah.
And it can be so much worse than, I mean, we've been fortunate here in Clayton County because we haven't had the kind of incidents that have been seen nationwide, but this is not an argument you win on the side of the road. If you want to come to court and fight it or tell us why it wasn't the correct thing to happen, all day, every day, we're here to listen and we're here to get that worked out. But if you get into it with an officer on the side of the road, you don't win that. How old are you, sir?
37.
Okay, well, if you want to live to be 40, and that's the good age, that's the age right there where, you know, you figured some stuff out, you still got a lot of life left. If you do it right, that's the age. But if you want to live to get there, you can't keep having these kind of interactions. We clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. All right. So I'm going to accept the recommendation. I'm going to revoke 30 days, and I'll sentence you to serve those 30 days in the Clayton County Jail. After service of the 30 days, including time since the date of lockup, this particular time, then once you've done that, then your case will be closed. But just remember what I said, sir. You don't win a negative interaction on the side of the road with the police. There's no way you win that, okay?
Yes, ma'am.
Your Honor, he'll get credit from the date of lockup, right?
Yeah, I will. I'll give
Okay,
him credit.
thank you.
All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and fill this out and send the order over. So Mr. Simmons, so I'll give you credit for time served, revoke 30 days, and once you finish with the 30 days, this case will be closed. Anything else on behalf of probation, Ms. Chang?
Not on this case, Your Honor.
All right, thank you.
you.
All right, so Miss Hahn, were you able to get Mr. Arnold back?
I was not, Your Honor. I called and texted him a few times.
All right, well, let's see if he can get back on before we end the calendar. If not, we'll put him on an arrangement calendar. If we can change the address, did you get an address for him?
I did, Your Honor.
Okay, so we may need to do that because the previous address was wrong. Okay, so let me finish up this order for a second.
Your Honor, you're done with Mr. Simmons?
Yes.
All right. Hey, stand to the right so they can see you.
All right, so I'm sending the order over. Let me know if anybody has any trouble getting it. Sometimes this doesn't work as efficiently as I'd like it to. Okay. All right, so Mr. Kamani, did you have any other cases?
No, Your Honor. My
All right.
case is done.
All right, so let's see, Ms. Hahn, we have Good and Lee and Arnold if he comes back, and then we have the motion for Kirkland. So on Good, can you bring up Good, please, Jahaven?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. Mr. Good? All right, I'm good. Ms. Chang is already sworn. Mr. Good, raise your right hand for me. You solemnly swear or affirm any testimony you give in this matter will be true.
Yes, ma'am.
All right, so Mr. Jahaven Good, you're before the court on State of Georgia versus, you can put your hand down, sir. But State of Georgia versus Jahaven Good. 2021 CR 04894. You were before this court for battery, family violence, cruelty to children, and allowing a child to witness cruelty, criminal trespass, damage to property. On the first day of March 2022, you were sentenced to serve to 10 months and 15 days on probation after you served 45 days in confinement. You have 2 months and 28 days remaining, and your sentence was told because you failed to report to probation on June 15th, July 15th, and within 20 days of your release from jail on July 29th, 2022. Also on September 7th and September 15th of 2022, and within 10 days of September 19th, 2022. You've last reported to probation on August 15th, 2022 by mail. You failed to document proof of enrollment and participating in the Family Violence Intervention Program. You failed to complete community service. You were supposed to do 80 hours. You did none. You failed to pay. You're currently $230 in arrears in court fines, and with a total of $450. And you have been charged with the new criminal offense of loitering and prowling, giving false name, address, or date of birth, and possession of marijuana 1 ounce or less on or about December 24th of 2022 in Clayton County. Ms. Khan, on behalf of Mr. Good, it's my understanding that you wish to stipulate and agree to the technicals.
Yes, Your Honor, that's correct.
All right. All right, Ms. Ms. Chang, what's the recommendation from probation?
Your Honor, probation recommends that he serve 60 days in the county jail, thereafter close the case.
All right, Ms. Han, is there any issue regarding competency in this case?
No, Your Honor, just no issues regarding competency. We just ask that he get credit for since state of lockup.
So he doesn't have any mental health issues, he just hard-headed.
No mental health issues.
You don't have to respond. Mr. Good?
Yes, ma'am.
I'm hearing your name too often, sir. You know what that means? You're doing too much.
Yes, ma'am.
So you have 2 months and 28 days remaining. The probation has recommended that you spend 2 months in jail, but I'm more inclined to revoke the max. You're doing too much, sir. How old are you?
21.
Oh my goodness. So you just warming up to head to prison, because this is jail. This ain't nothing, man. You just warming up to head to prison. Is that what we're doing?
Ma'am.
I mean, because you got too much going on, sir. Like people who work in a job or going to school or pursuing, a business or anything. I mean, they don't come before me like this, but I'm starting to know who you are, and that is not a good thing. I shouldn't know you, especially not at 21 years old. You have got to stop on whatever this is you're doing, because otherwise you're going to end up in prison, and that's not going to be a pleasant experience for you, sir.
Yes, ma'am.
Do you understand what I'm saying?
I do, ma'am.
I don't know, Mr. Good, because I'm worried. I really am. At 21, I shouldn't be looking at somebody whose future only shows me that they headed to the penitentiary. Either that or dying in the street. Those are the two things that are happening to young men in your situation. Two things. Every day I'm getting reports. Either you going to prison at 21 or younger, or you're getting shot down in the street. I need you to think differently about what you want your life to look like.
Yes, ma'am.
This does not have to be your future, but you only one can make that choice. You keep making these choices to be out here in these streets doing crazy stuff. This is where you're going to end up. You're either going to be taken off the street one way or taken off the street the other way. That's all I can say. You're doing too much. Do you have children?
Yes, I have one daughter.
Okay, let's not have any more kids. And I know that might not be popular for people to say, but don't have any more kids right now. Condoms are cheaper than child support or child care, number one. And number two, with as much time as you spend in an orange jumpsuit, you're not a father. You just got a baby out there, but you ain't being a father to that baby. You understand? Am I telling you the truth?
I mean,
You think you being a father because that's all you know. But when I tell you, it takes so much more than what you giving that child. How old is the baby?
3 years old. She just turned
Okay,
3.
she just turned 3. And you know what's going on at 3? She's learning to talk. She's learning her letters. She's learning her colors. She's learning how to communicate with people. She's getting colds and she's staying up at night sick. Have you spent any time with that child making sure she's okay, sitting up with her at night, making sure she's sitting under a humidifier, getting this phlegm out of her nose? Have you done any of that? That's what daddies do. Anybody, any male can make a baby. I mean, it's just how you set up. That's how your structure is. But you can't be a daddy if you're spending more time in an orange jumpsuit than with your child. If you're not sitting up at night with your child worried about whether she's going to feel better in the morning, if you're not worried about what her future looks like, if you're not worried about whether she's eating every day and you providing for that, you're not a dad. You just out here flinging genetic material around. So don't have any more babies right now because you're not being a daddy to the one that God gave you. We clear? You got to fix you. And if you end up in prison, all she gonna know is, yeah, well, my daddy name was Jay Haven. I don't know nothing about him. He went to jail or he went to prison and I ain't see him no time after that. It's more than about just making babies and just running the streets. You got to figure something out. Oh, I know I'm right.
I be trying to change my life around, and you know the cases I got open and stuff with my baby mother and my child. That's the reason why I couldn't be around them and stuff.
Well, because that's your choice. Anytime you have a situation where there's violence in a relationship, then one, that means y'all are too immature to be in that relationship. Number two, it means you need to get help because you're stuck in that relationship because y'all have a child together. You and this lady could walk away from each other if it wasn't for that child. And number three, you're not making any changes. You're not getting any counseling so that you know how to communicate. The whole point of sending you to the Family Violence Intervention Program, which you skipped, by the way, was to give you some tools to communicate with the person who's gonna be in your life for the rest of your life. As long as that baby is alive, that woman gonna be in your life. But if you don't know how to communicate with her, all you're gonna do is keep coming back to jail on foolishness. Communication is not something that we always know how to do. We either gotta see somebody do it the right way or we gotta learn it. My guess is you didn't see somebody do it the right way. So you learned what you knew. Argue, fight. That's not the right way. But you skipped the class that would have helped you learn it the right way. I know I'm gonna see you again in a little bit. Because I feel like you're not gonna change. So I'm gonna give you I'm gonna revoke these 60 days and I'm gonna just wait till you come back. Because you're not gonna change. You're not gonna make that decision.
It's gonna be your last time, Miss Hank.
No, don't even tell me that. Tell that to yourself and make it true. Don't tell it to me.
Yeah, ma'am.
Ms. Hahn, anything on behalf of this poor young soul?
No, Your Honor, just that he gets credit from the data lockup.
Here's JPS supervisors. Am I clear to go code 3 for 6008?
All right, so you have 60 days revoked, and you shall receive credit since the date of lockup. After service of 60 days, case shall be closed. Mr. Good, I already know you coming back because you got something pending in Fulton. You'll probably come back on something before me soon. So I just want you to know that this is the path you're taking is going to send you straight to the penitentiary, where that's not a place you want to be. Nobody's set up for that. But you specifically are not going to be set up to kind of survive that environment. And I want you to think about that, number one. And number two, you got a baby. And at some point, you need to be the man who created that child, who can be a father to that child, not just a sperm donor. You got me?
Yes, ma'am. And about that, you said if I got something pending in Fulton.
Don't you have charges pending? Was that in Clayton or Fulton? Hold on.
Clayton County.
Oh, so you will be seeing me. I'll see you in a couple of days. You'll be back.
Yeah, I ain't gonna be on no new charges, Miss Hayward. Though I'm tired. I ain't.
You
coming
should
back
be
to jail.
tired, Mr. Gould. You should be tired.
I had to get these cases over with so I can see my daughter.
Yeah, okay. That's not what I want to hear. I want to get these cases over with so I can be a better person and get my life right. That's what I need to hear. Because you don't need to be in your daughter's life if you're not going to be the right person to be there.
You're right. That's why I've been working on.
Mr. Gould, I'm gonna tell you something right now. If 20 years from now your daughter married somebody like you, my heart would hurt for her. If she married the person you are right now, my heart would hurt for her. If she was in a relationship with the person you are right now, my heart would hurt for her. Be better. Be the person you would want to see take care of your daughter.
Yes, ma'am.
You got me?
Yes,
All
ma'am.
right.
Thank you,
Because I care, Mr. Gould. I hate seeing you keep coming back on foolishness.
Yeah, see, I mean,
I got it. Don't tell me
nothing.
nothing. Don't tell me. I just want you to think about what I've told you. Hold on a second, y'all. I got to get my charging cord.
Thank you. Down. She said she gotta get a charger.
Oh, Lord.
Where you at with? What course you got? Oh, yeah, okay. You doing special? Yes, miss. Okay. You don't go to review? Yeah, I'm almost done. I'll be done.
Excuse me, listen, you think she done with me?
No, she ain't done yet.
Okay.
Trying to get down.
I can't hear you. It's muted.
Yeah, I'm done with him. Thank you.
Thank you, Judge.
All right, Mr. Good. May I have Lee, please?
Lee.
Oh, there he is. Mr. Arnold, you're back. Hold on just a second. Let me get Mr. Lee and then I'm gonna get your case, okay?
Yes, ma'am. I'm sorry, my phone had died. I had to
That's
run to
okay.
the house to get my charger.
That's all right. I got you. I had to go get my charger. Mr. Mr. Lee, raise your right hand for me, sir. You solemnly swear or affirm any testimony you give in this matter will be true.
Yes, ma'am.
All right, you can put your hand down. Mr. Lee, you're before the court on a petition for revocation of probation, case 2022 CR 00604. Omar Jihad Lee. Mr. Lee, you were before this court on a petition for cruelty to animals on the 28th day of April 2022. You were sentenced to 12 months on probation and you have 3 months and 21 days remaining. The sentence was not told. It's alleged that you violated the law by committing the new criminal offense of impersonating a public officer or employee and criminal trespass unlawful purpose on November 12th of 2022 in Gwinnett County. You failed to report to probation as directed on June 15th of 2022, July 15th of 2022, and October 15th of 2022. You last reported on September 23rd of 2022. You failed to complete community service. You've documented 0 of the 80 hours I told you to do, and you failed to pay your $400 in arrears. So, Ms. Hahn, my understanding is that you wish to stipulate and agree to the technicals on behalf of your client.
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. Ms. Chang, what is the recommendation from probation for Mr. Lee?
Your Honor, probation is recommending 30 days to serve in the county jail. Thereafter, close the case.
All right. Okay, so Mr. Lee, you understand that once we do this case, you'll be here approximately 30 days. I'm not sure how the jail does it. And then you'll go from here to Gwinnett County if they're still requesting your presence. You understand that, sir?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. How old are you, Mr. Lee?
25. I gotta go get the calendar first.
I'm sorry. You're what?
25. I just turned 25.
Okay. You turned 25 in jail?
I did December 11th.
Okay. All right. Ms. Hahn, anything on behalf of your client?
Your Honor, we asked that Mr. Lee get credit since the date of lockup.
Mr. Lee, I'm gonna tell you, I'm gonna just be honest, I'm intrigued about who you allegedly were impersonating, but since I don't want you to tell me anything about your case, I'm gonna have to let my curiosity be satisfied some other way. But yeah, I'm trying to figure out if you're walking around telling people that you a judge. Don't tell me though. All right, so Mr. Lee, I'm going to accept your plea. Accept the stipulation and agreement from your attorney on your behalf. I'll revoke 30 days and you'll serve that 30 days with credit since the date of lockup. And after you serve the 30 days, your case will be closed. All right, so sir, I'm not sure what it is that got you in trouble or why we keep getting in trouble. But think about what you're doing, okay? You got some changes that you need to make in your life. You understand?
Yes, ma'am.
You're 25 years old, and orange is not your color. You need to do something so that you're not coming back to the jail, okay?
Yes, ma'am.
Any jail. It's a new day. Try and do something different.
Yes, ma'am.
All right. You can go back with the sheriff's office. All right, I'm sending the order over and then we'll get ready for the motion. Is this the last case other than the motion to revoke?
Mr. Arnold.
Oh, yeah, that's right. I'm sorry, Mr. Arnold, I'll get you.
Yeah, 22.
Who you need, Your Honor?
Can the jail mute for a minute? I'm gonna do this one case and then I'll come back for the motion.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. All right, Mr. Arnold, raise your right hand for me. Do you
Yes, ma'am.
solemnly, I'm sorry, do you solemnly swear or affirm any testimony you give in this matter will be true?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, so Mr. Arnold, you're before the court on case 2019 CR 09220 for driving with a suspended or revoked license. You're represented by Ms. Hahn, who's with the law firm of Lister, Holt and Dennis. Ms. Hahn has indicated that you wish to enter a NOLO plea to the offense before the court. Is that correct, Ms. Hahn?
Yes, Your Honor.
By doing so, sir, you give up the right to have a trial by jury or judge. You give up the right to have the state prove your guilt beyond a reasonable doubt. You give up the right to have the presumption of innocence in your favor. You give up the right to confront witnesses, subpoena witnesses, present testimony and evidence on your behalf, to not incriminate yourself or present any testimony or evidence against yourself. And sir, if you're not a United States citizen, a plea of guilty or no contest could negatively impact your immigration status. Do you understand all of these things?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, factual basis and recommendation, please.
Yes, Your Honor. On September 15th, 2019, an officer observed Mr. Arnold operate a vehicle on Riverdale Road and Crystal Lake Road, where the incident occurred in Clayton County. It was operating the vehicle with no tag light. Once the officer made contact with the vehicle, determined that Mr. Arnold was operating that vehicle, asked Mr. Arnold for his driver's license. A GCIC check determined that that license was suspended. Your Honor, the state is recommending a $500 fine.
All right. Anything on behalf of Mr. Arnold, Ms. Hahn?
Yes, ma'am.
Oh, hold on, Mr. Arnold. Ms. Hahn?
Nothing,
Yes,
Your
ma'am. I'm sorry
Honor.
about that, ma'am.
Okay, no problem. So, Mr. Arnold, that's the statutory fine. And this, because it's your first time having this offense in 5 years, you get a NOLO, which keeps you from having your license get suspended. But whatever it was that caused the suspension of your license, be very mindful of that doesn't happen again, okay? Because I'm sure Ms. Hahn has explained that the fees go up astronomically, like they double and then triple and then quadruple, and then it's a felony. You got me?
Yes, ma'am. We're not gonna get to all that.
All right. So the best thing to do, and I tell people this, is if you get a ticket, when you are on the side of the road, pull out that supercomputer that everybody has in their pocket and take a picture of the ticket, because we're gonna lose it. We're gonna throw it in the dash, or we're gonna put it somewhere, and by the time the court date comes around, we won't have a clue. Then calendar your court date and give yourself a reminder at least 7 to 10 days ahead of time in case you need to take off work or get your money right or anything. But that keeps you from getting a failure to appear, okay?
Yes, ma'am. Like I was stating earlier, the failure to appear was.
No, I got that part.
Okay,
yeah,
okay.
that part was on us, and I apologize for that. But I'm just saying, for most
got-
people, they get a suspension because they fail to go to court the first time. It just doesn't cross their mind. So I'm just telling you how not to get that messed up, okay?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, so does Ms. Hahn have your email address?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, so Ms. Hahn is going to send your email address to Ms. Wright. Ms. Wright is going to send you an email from the clerk's office. So check, not today, but check tomorrow. It's going to give you all the information about your fines. Now, the fine is going to be $737.50 with the surcharges. Yeah, there's surcharges that come on that. But I can give you up to 60 days to pay without putting you on probation. Do you need those 60 days?
Absolutely.
I understand. I would
don't
need them
I
too.
don't need the probation, but I definitely need the 60 days.
And that's fine. So I'll give you the 60 days. And this is what I say. When you look at your email, it should explain to you how to pay online or by phone. So you don't have to come down to the courthouse. But if you want to come down to the courthouse, you can do that. You can make your payments in person. Just understand that you can make periodic payments, but you want to make sure that all of those things are paid by the 60th day. Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
All right. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, ma'am. You all have a blessed day and have a
All
happy
right.
new
And
year.
I already got the bench warrant set aside. I'm going to be signing that to make sure you don't have any problems.
Thank you, ma'am.
Okay.
Y'all be
Take care.
blessed.
Happy New Year.
Thank to you.
All right. All right. Can I have Kirkland, please, for the
Just
jail?
gonna take a leave now, Your Honor. I'm sorry.
Yeah, you're good to go. Thank you.
Okay.
You just check
Thank
your email.
Okay, thank you, ma'am.
Your Honor, quick question.
Yes, ma'am.
Bennett was continued, but did you give us a date or no, or how long?
I don't see a Bennett. Did I not write that down?
Youngblood, there was still waiting on.
Oh,
the middle.
Youngblood. Yeah, I did not give a date. Let's
Okay.
give it 2 weeks and see if we can get her a placement. All right. Kirkland. So the court, we're here before the court for Mr. Kirkland. 1 second. This is on a motion to revoke bond.
Yes, Your Honor.
So Mr. Kirkland, you're before the court on case 20. I miss you.
Good afternoon, Your Honor. I'm sorry.
Oh, that's okay. You're before the court on case 2022 CR 07111 for Travis Terrell Kirkland. You were before this court on a battery, family violence, battery, simple battery, and simple battery, family violence. There's a motion to revoke your bond at this time, and you're represented by Ms. Hahn, who's here with you on the call. The state is asking that your bond be revoked, and they'll explain why in a moment. But let me explain. Ms. Hahn is representing you. She will ask questions of any witnesses brought by the state. You do not have to testify or give any evidence in this case. If you do testify or give evidence, I need to go over with you that you understand that you have a Fifth Amendment constitutional right against self-incrimination, meaning nobody can force you to testify. Hold on a second. I'm gonna answer any questions in a moment. So you'll just remain silent while your attorney does the work on your behalf. And if you and your attorney have discussed you testifying, then at that time, I'll swear you in and I'll make sure that you understand that you do not have to testify. And if you do so, I have to be sure that you're doing so willingly and voluntarily. Do you understand that?
Yeah.
Okay. Did you have a question for me about how this hearing is going to go?
Yes, man. I'm going through a lot right now. I'm just
Okay.
trying to get
Wait. I get that, but don't tell me what you're going through.
Mr. Kirkland?
Just let Ms. Hahn do her job, okay?
Not right now.
All right. I have great attorneys in this courtroom for the state and for the defense. So let her do her job, all right? All right. So this is the motion to revoke. And Ms. Janvier, does the state have witnesses to present at this time?
Yes, Your Honor. Officer Gabrielle Smith.
All right, Officer Smith, raise your right hand for me. Do you solemnly swear or affirm any testimony you give in this matter will be true?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, Ms. Janvier, your witness.
Your Honor, before I begin with the question, may the state request that the court take judicial notice of the order for bond?
All right, Ms. Hahn, any objection to that?
No objection, Your Honor.
Order for bond was entered into the, was entered by the judge of the magistrate court. Is that correct, Ms. Janvier?
Yes, Your Honor, Magistrate Judge Cooper.
Okay.
It's number 1st of 2020.
All right. Do you want to read into the record the stipulations as it appears on the bond for Mr. Kirkland?
Yes, Your Honor. It is the further order of this court that the defendant shall have no violent contact directly or indirectly by mail, email, pager, telephone, or third person from the person, home, workplace, and immediate family members of any witness, including but not limited to LaTrassa Kirkland. Additionally, the defendant must not violate any laws while on bond.
Okay. And what's the date on this case?
Of the case, Your Honor?
What's the date of that bond condition?
December 1st of 2020.
2020?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. All right, go ahead.
All right. Officer Smith, can you please state your full name for the record?
Yes, ma'am. My name is Gabrielle Smith.
Thank you. And are you currently employed?
Yes, ma'am.
Where are you employed?
At Clayton County Police Department.
How long have you been with the Clayton County Police Department?
For a little over a year.
And what is your role or title with the Clayton County Police Department?
Yes, I'm a uniform police officer.
And have you had any particular training to become a police officer?
Yes, ma'am. I completed the police academy, the basic law enforcement training academy in April of this year, and I completed the field training as well in June of this year, not this year, June of 2022, my apologies.
And also, have you had any experience with domestic disturbance calls?
Yes, ma'am.
Offhand, would you say about how many you've attended? Just a roundabout number.
Over 200.
Okay. And when you reach the house of a call, such as a domestic disturbance, what is it that you do upon your first contact?
Yes, ma'am. So basically, when we respond to a call, we make sure that everyone is in the home is safe at that time. And at that time, we speak with the complainant, the one who's initially given us a call, and we speak to everyone that's in the home that's in reference to why we were called out to the home.
And if you determine that there is an issue, do you at that point take anyone into custody?
Yes, ma'am.
And how do you determine if a person may be taken into custody?
So basically, while we're speaking to the complainant, they'll express exactly what happened during the incident, what occurred. And after we can speak with the complainant, we attempt to speak to the person that she is saying that committed the crime. If that person is not there, we speak to the other individuals that's also in the area or who witnessed or observed the incident that occurred and get their testimony as well.
Okay. And do you recall if you were working on November 26th of 2022?
Yes, ma'am.
And do you recall if you had an occasion to visit 6200 Harvard Court in Morrow, Georgia?
Yes, ma'am.
Can you tell us what, if anything, you observed upon your arrival?
So upon my arrival, when I first arrived to the residence, I observed a witness. I believe it was the individual, the mother of his juvenile child. She was outside and she was very irate and stating that there was an incident that occurred between the individual, Mr. Kirkland, and his mother, who was also inside of the home. So after I spoke with her, I went inside of the home and I spoke with Mrs. Kirkland, and Mrs. Kirkland, she advised of what happened. And I also spoke with, I think his name was Mr. Eric at that time, who was also saying that he was the one who de-escalated the situation. after we were leaving the scene, Mr. Kirkland was arriving back to the residence. And then that's when he expressed to me from his point of view of what occurred between him and his mother.
And after taking the statements of both Ms. LaTrassa Kirkland, I'm sorry, is Ms. LaTrassa Kirkland the person that you spoke with?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And after speaking with Ms. LaTrassa Kirkland and Mr. Eric Kirkland, what did you determine?
So I determined that there was an incident, a physical incident that occurred between Mr. Kirkland, which was her son, and her. And they got into a disagreement because of a female juvenile that was in the home, who is Mr. Kirkland's younger sister. An incident that happened, the mom got upset about it. Mr. Kirkland approached the mom, and then the physical altercation started from there.
Okay. Were you able to determine the extent of the physical altercation?
Yeah, so basically the Mrs. Kirkland had visible injuries on her. She was also seen by Clayton County Emergency Services. I believe it was like below her neck, and I believe there was one more, I don't recall exactly where that was located on her body. And she stated that when Mr. Kirkland got out of the shower, he was upset and became argumentative. And that's when Mr. Kirkland came in between them to try to stop it, and Mr. Kirkland reached over and hit her.
So just to clarify, Mr. Kirkland, the defendant, was in the shower. He got out of the shower. He went towards the victim in this case. And then Mr. Eric Kirkland stepped in between to de-escalate.
Correct. Yes, ma'am.
All right, because there's a lot of Kirklands flying
Kirkland's,
around.
I'm so sorry. I'm trying.
That's okay. Go ahead.
Okay. At that time, did you make a determination regarding Mr. Travis Kirkland?
Yes, ma'am. Based off of testimonial from Mr. Eric Kirkland, and then also Ms. LaTressa Kirkland had the visible injuries on her as well. And then the female juvenile stated that she don't know who hit first, but she think it was her brother, was her testimony as well.
And did you say you took Mr. Travis Kirkland into custody at that time?
Yes, ma'am, I did.
All right, thank you. No further questions.
All right, cross-examination, Ms. Hahn.
Yes, Your Honor. Hi, Ms. Smith. So when you arrived at the scene, you spoke with the victim, correct? I mean, excuse me, the suspect, correct?
Yes. No, not the, he wasn't, when I arrived to the scene, he was not at the residence. He left the residence. And as we were leaving, he flagged us down and stopped us. And that's when he told us what happened from there.
Okay. When he told you what happened, he told you that the victim had not told the truth about what happened during the incident. Is that correct?
Yes. He said there was always some ongoing issues between him and his mother that always was happening, and he don't understand why that she was, saying the things that she was saying.
And he indicated to you that he did not, in fact, have a physical altercation with the victim. Is that correct?
That is correct.
And just to go back, the juvenile witness also indicated that she was not sure that that my client had a physical altercation with the victim. Is that correct?
However, she did indicate, I think it was my brother. Verbatim, that's what she said.
But at first, it indicated that she did not know for sure. Is that correct?
Correct. Mm-hmm.
No further questions, Your Honor.
All right, any redirect?
No redirect, Your Honor.
All right, does the state wish to reserve this witness, or may Officer Smith be excused?
Officer Smith may be excused, Your Honor.
All right, thank you, Officer Smith. You can be excused at this time. Does the state have additional witnesses to call?
No, Your Honor.
All right, does the defense wish to call any witnesses in this case?
Your Honor, if I could conference with Mr. Kirkland again regarding his right to testify.
All right. So, okay, the bond condition, that just because I think I missed something. I was trying to write down my notes, but the bond condition was set on December 1st of 2020. When did the officer go out on this incident?
November 26th of 2022, Your Honor.
All right. Yeah, I missed that. All right, so Miss Han, I'm gonna put you and Mr. In the jail in breakout room number 3. So once you all have had an opportunity to speak, then we'll resume the hearing.
Can you also add Mr. Kamani as well, Your Honor, please?
All right, Mr. Kamani will also go to breakout room number 3, and we'll be back.
Your Honor.
Yes, Ms. Hahn?
We would like to call Mr. Travis Kirkland.
Okay. Mr. Kirkland,
Yes, ma'am. How you doing?
raise your right hand for me, sir. Do you solemnly swear or affirm any testimony you give in this matter will be true?
Yes, ma'am. I swear.
All right, you can put your hand out. Now, Mr. Kirkland, I know you've had a discussion with your attorney. Don't tell me what y'all talked about. I don't need to know that. But do you understand that you do not have to testify?
Yes, ma'am. I understand.
Do you understand that anything that you say during this hearing can be used against you in the case that is still pending against you?
Yes, ma'am. I understand.
All right. And do you wish to give testimony at this time?
Yes, ma'am. I surely do.
All right. You've been sworn. Ms. Hahn, your witness.
Thank you, Your Honor. Mr. Kirkland, do you remember what happened on November 26, 2022?
Yes, ma'am.
Talk to me about, can you tell me what happened on November 26th?
I was watching my son, at the time, my 7-month-old, and when his mother came through the door and said I need to get in the shower because I stink. And she said both of us need a bath. And so she gave my son a bath and I hopped in the shower. As me hopping in the shower, his other grandma, my mother-in-law, basically was on the way to pick my son up. And by the time I was in the shower, that she brought my baby in the shower and said, Colin finna go outside. He finna go. So I kissed him goodbye. Long story short, when I kissed him goodbye, I heard my mama.
I'm sorry,
my mother,
Mr. Kirkland, sorry to interrupt you. You said who went outside?
Shanari Hilliard.
And who is Shanari Hilliard?
That's the mother of my child, my fiance.
Are you married to her?
No, ma'am.
Then she not Shanari Kirkland. She Shamari, whatever her maiden name is.
I don't know what name she told them. I don't know. So I'm sorry.
Excuse me? I
don't know what name she told the officer because I don't know. I just know we're engaged. We're supposed to get married.
What name she's supposed to go by?
Shanari Hilliard. Shanari Ashan Hilliard.
Okay, thank you. Go ahead, Ms. Holmes.
So, Mr. Kirkland, I interrupted your story, but you were at the part where you said that you had gotten into the shower after suggestion from the mother of your son that you take a shower. You can continue from there.
I was in the shower and I heard my mom calling Miracle, Miri. And I said, Mom, she probably outside with Nari. That's Shanari.
And who is Mary?
That's my little 8-year-old sister, Miracle Laville. When I heard my mom respond was not go outside with no shoes and coat on. And I said, I don't know. She outside. I know that would help him with the baby.
I believe at the time.
Okay. And then what happened?
Was there.
As I hopped out the shower, I dried off in the bathroom. As I dried off in the bathroom, the bathroom door is at the top of the steps, and my mom was still at the top with a broom.
That's the circumstance that.
And Miracle came right in when I came right out the bathroom. And coming up the steps, my mom was telling her to come on up the steps with the broom in her hand, intending to hit her because she didn't have on no coat.
Okay. And why did you think that your mom was intending to hit your sister?
Because we don't been in defects before. Me and my older sister come in Kirkland, and I don't got hit with a broom before. I don't have stitches on my head. So I just know my mom. I just said, Mom, please don't hit her. And I went in my room. Next thing I know, she trained her to come up the steps. If you don't come up the steps, I'm going to come down there. By the time my sister got up the steps, I was walking back into the bathroom, finna brush my teeth.
And how were you feeling at that time?
I was feeling sad for my sister. You get what I'm saying? Because I know what type of mother we have, and my sister has a brain tumor in her head. So I just didn't want nothing to happen to her. she's sensitive already with words. So my mom was already making her cry. By the time she got at the top of the steps, she was crying, real tears. And I said, Mom, please just don't hit her. She didn't mean it. She like, you know better than not going out the door with no coat on, no shoes on. She went out the door with just socks on and what she had on. So the next thing I know, she hit her across the leg and she ran in the room. My sister ran in my mom's room. I said, Mom, please don't hit her again, Mom, because my mom was walking towards her. I'm standing in the bathroom door like this, brushing my teeth. And she told me to shut up. My mom, I repeat, my mom said, you shut up and you worry about your own child. And she like, come Friday, you need to get the fuck out of my house. That's what she told me. That. And she hit me across the leg.
Is that the end of the altercation?
That's the end of the physical altercation. Then all the rest of the altercation was just words back and forth. When she hit me across the back, I went in my room and threw down my toothbrush on the floor in the laundry room. I went in my room and put on my clothes on the bed.
Understood. So just to clarify, you stated that that your mother was the one that hit you first. Is that what you stated?
Yes, ma'am. She hit me. Yes, ma'am. She hit me.
Okay.
I did not swing. I didn't. It went. The broom is so cheap. It's a pack.
Okay, understood, Mr. Kirkland. And when I'm assuming the police arrived, what did you tell the police when they got there?
I was coming from my neighbor house to the end of the street, and I seen one police ride by. As I was walking down the street, they rode right past me. 2 police cars that rode right past me. As I got to the end of the street, it was 1 police car. They wasn't even in front of my house, but one of my neighbors was outside, and they said the police just left my house. That's what they told me.
Mr. Kirkland, I'm going to ask you the question again. What did you say? What did you tell the police when they?
I said, I asked the police, did y'all leave 6200 Harbor Court? I did not tell the police anything. And that's when they said, she said, yes, we're at 62 Harbor Court.
So did you have a conversation with Officer Smith?
I had a conversation with 2 officers.
I'm sorry?
I had a conversation with 2 female officers, ma'am.
Okay, and what did you tell them about the incident?
I told them my mom is going through menopause. She'd be up and down line. Sometimes she can get a lot. She abused me and my older sister. We've been a deep.
Okay, no further questions.
At the time. And he wasn't speaking to any.
Cross-examination.
Mr. Kirkland, are you saying today that you only had a physical altercation with your mother?
You said what, ma'am?
That you had a physical altercation with your mother?
I did not have anything physical with my mom because the first time I ever been arrested was she lied and said I pushed her on the step, pushed her down the steps. So I never intended nothing. I didn't do nothing but walk back in my room and put on my clothes and I left. I was so angry that she hit me.
Thank you. So when your mother asked you not to say anything about your sister, you approached her with a bat. Is that correct?
No, ma'am.
With a bat in your hand?
No, ma'am.
And when she attempted to hit your sister, you also tried to reach over your mother and hit her in the face. Isn't that correct?
No, ma'am. That's not correct.
So what you're saying today is that even though your mother threatened to put you out of the house, told you to mind your business, she hit you on the back, you didn't do anything.
I left. I stormed out the house. I put on my clothes because I had a towel wrapped around me. I stormed out the house, man. Right, that's all I did. I stormed out the house. What's that?
And when you made contact with the police officer, did she ask you what happened?
Yes, and I told her.
Did she tell you why you were under arrest?
She said she believed me. She told me because my mom had some mark on her. And I told her that my mom was on work release from being in a car accident at work. She worked at the airport.
Okay. Thank you. No further questions, Your Honor.
All right. Anything else, Ms. Hahn?
No, Your Honor, not at this time.
All right. All right, Ms. Hahn, no other witnesses for the defense, is that correct?
No other witnesses, Your Honor, no.
Okay, I'll hear argument.
Yes, Your Honor. The state is requesting that the court revoke the bond of Mr. Kirkland, as a primary condition of his bond was to not commit any new crimes. Officer Smith has come before the court and testified that she did arrest Mr. Kirkland. That is a violation of the bond after an extensive investigation for the domestic disturbance call that she received, Your Honor, as a condition of his bond. It was to not have any violent contact with Ms. Latressa Kirkland, which the officer observed the physical bruising on Ms. Kirkland, in addition to the witness statements that she conducted, that she received during her investigation, leading her in her expertise as a police officer to determine that it was Mr. Kirkland who had injured Ms. Kirkland. Additionally, as I said, stated, Your Honor, the condition of the bond was no violent contact with Ms. Latressa Kirkland, as well as to not violate any new laws. And Mr. Travis Kirkland was rearrested on November 26th of 2022 after that bond condition while he was still out on bond, Your Honor.
Okay, Ms. Hahn?
Yes, Your Honor. At this point, our client has been only accused of a crime. No crime has been proven. The only witness that the state has put up was not present at the on the date of the incident, only after. The only witness to the crime is to the alleged crime is our client, and he was there and has testified that he did not, in fact, have any violent contact with the alleged victim. The evidence does show that he did, in fact, do what he said, and that he left the scene after a verbal altercation and his mother striking him. He left the scene because the officer even testified to the fact that Mr. Kirkland was not in the house at the time that that she arrived. Furthermore, my client does have somewhere else to go, so he's not a flight risk. He has another place to stay if the state or if the court would be comfortable with no contact at all with the victim. My client can stay at another resident. He'd gone about a year without having any violent contact whatsoever with the alleged victim in this case. So we ask that the motion be denied.
All right, so this case sticks out to me because I think I addressed this when the initial bond condition was done at arraignment. I believe it was noted that there was a no violent contact provision, but the bond condition should have said no contact, and I think it was altered by the magistrate at that time. But I believe the policy has been reinstated that the initial bond condition for a violent misdemeanor should be no contact as opposed to no violent contact. And so I addressed that with the chief judge. So I wanted to put that on the record because I believe that this is the case that brought that up to me and made me make that distinction. So from the beginning, Mr. Kirkland's bond condition should have said no contact, but it said no violent contact. So he was within the bounds of the bond condition to be back in contact with his mother and in that household if that's where he lived at the time. The issue that I have is that the witness who spoke on behalf of the state was not present at the time that it happened. And there were at least 3 witnesses who could have spoken about what actually happened other than the defendant, Mr. Kirkland. There was an Eric Kirkland, Latrassa Kirkland, and the minor juvenile who, I mean, granted, she's young. And so the court would have preferred testimony other than hers, but there were people who were actually there who were witnesses to the altercation who were not brought to testify in this case. And for the court to revoke someone's pretrial status and to put them in jail for pretrial detention, then I got to go a little step further. I got to hear enough to convince me that this person's actions were in violation of the conditions of bond. What I heard from both sides was a physical altercation did occur, but never did I hear, even from the police officer, that Mr. Kirkland, the defendant, was the aggressor. I heard Mr. Eric Kirkland say he stepped, the officer was told he stepped in to de-escalate the situation. Miss Latrassa Kirkland had bruises on her, but I don't know where those, other than there was a physical fight, which could have been started by Miss Latrassa Kirkland. I am unclear. And because I'm unclear and I feel like there's more to the story, the court is not going to revoke the bond at this time. I will, however, modify the bond condition so that from this point forward, and I need this in writing in an order, Mr. Kirkland is to have no contact with any of the individuals listed, the juvenile minor, Miss Latrassa Kirkland, and Miss Eric Kirkland. He's to have no contact, and he's not to go back to that incident location. But the motion to revoke bond is denied. If bond exists in this case, Mr. Kirkland will have the ability to make bond in this case. Mr. Kirkland, you have stated that there's a very chaotic situation in this household. That is not one that you should be in or that your child should be in. How old are you, sir?
I'm only 21, ma'am. I just turned 21 November 18.
Okay, number one, don't have no more children. Condoms are cheaper than child care or child support. You are not in a position to have any more babies. Get you some condoms. We clear?
Yeah.
I mean, everybody thinks it's funny, except you got a baby out there that you can't take care of.
You're right, because I'm in here.
Not just because you're in here, you were living with your mama when the baby was over there. So if you were in a position to take care of your child would be in a household. You would be taking care of that household, and you could possibly be in that household with your child. But as it stands, you living with your mama, she living wherever she living, taking care of the baby. If you're a mature adult who's going to be a father, that comes with some responsibility. That responsibility is to provide for your child. You can't provide for your child. Get you some condoms so we don't have this happen again, number one. And number two, start on the path to being the responsible father you need to be to this child. We clear? Because you know already the situation in your mama's house is chaotic. You know this. First of all, it also seems crowded because it's you there, your mama there, your brother there, your little sister there. I don't need you to cry. I need you to man up. If you're going to have a family, you need to take care of that family. Separate from your mama if you know that there's always something negative going on in that space. Stop running back to her to provide a household for you. You grown enough to have a child, and you need to be grown enough to take care of yourself and that child and the child's mother if she needs it. We clear? All this crying ain't doing nothing for me.
Yes, ma'am. We're clear. We're totally clear.
I'm gonna need you to stop crying and get it together. Crying ain't gonna help you prepare for this child. Crying ain't gonna help you take care of yourself. You know that your mama's house is chaotic and you don't do well there. So what I need you to do is stop going back there. We clear?
Yes, ma'am.
If you go back to your mama's house or have any contact with your mama, I will revoke your bond. We clear?
Yes, ma'am. We're totally clear.
Okay. So since we know that that is not a good situation, get your mind straight to get your child into a better situation where you can be the provider and protector for your child. Are we clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Because
We're
you can't
totally.
go to your mama's house and know that that's a bad place for you and then whine and complain because you get arrested at your mama's house. If she
We're
lied
totally.
on you before, which is what you said, then what makes you
Yes.
think she won't do it again? Common sense. That's what I need you to do, is embrace your common sense. We clear?
Yes, ma'am.
All right.
Ma'am.
Now, the order, like I said, is going to be that you're not to have any contact with her. No contact with your mama, no contact with Eric Kirkland, no contact with the minor female, Miracle Kirkland, or whatever her last name is, and no going to that location. Not you, not your baby, not your baby mama. Nobody goes to that location. We clear?
No, but my son has things that how we go about that. I'm just asking for.
Your baby's mother can apply to the sheriff's office to go to there with the sheriffs to get stuff for your son. But if she don't need the stuff, if she's done without it up to this point, then she can leave it there and keep it moving. We understand? Don't engage.
Don't even get involved. Yes, ma'am.
All right?
No,
Stop going where you know you're going to have difficulty. All right? So I need that order. Number one, and just so you know, sir, menopause is not something that makes people crazy. That's a myth. If your mama is acting in that way, she acting in that way with or without menopause. It might make you hot, but it ain't gonna make you hurt somebody.
She told me that she
Well,
goes through.
I'm telling you from experience. I ain't hit nobody yet. May have wanted to, but I ain't hit nobody yet. We clear? So stop using menopause as an excuse for violence. That's a new one for me. All right. Anything else?
Can I ask a question, Your Honor?
Yes, sir.
My father just passed away December 9th, and his funeral is this Friday. And I only have $280 what my baby mama told me. Can we try to lower my bond, please?
Miss Hahn will bring that to me if she maybe she can discuss it with the state. Otherwise, we can discuss that at a different time, sir. I can't. You have a bond set. That's what I'm willing to do.
Mr. Kirkland, I will schedule a jail visit and we can talk then, okay? All right, just make sure. Yeah, we'll talk then.
All right, so unless there's something else on my calendar. All right, I'll see you all next Tuesday for this calendar again. Thank you.
Your Honor?
Yes?
We have one more.
Who we got, Deputy?
Iola.
Oh, that's Judge Spencer's. I'm sorry, I did want to make sure that person is on Judge Spencer's calendar.
Okay.
So Miss Wright, can you get in touch with Judge Spencer's clerk or the supervisor of Judge Spencer's courtroom? Okay, because that's, yeah, go ahead. And she has jail calendar at 1, I believe.
Yes, ma'am.
All right, thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
All right.
Yes, Judge, I'll let her know.
Thanks, Miss Wright. I'm still signing.
Take your